Hi, I'm Liz Larson with The Art of Frosting, and normally I'm here teaching you guys some cake decorating basics. But today I'm going to share with you an old family recipe. It's Biscotti di Regio, or royal cookies. They're actually Italian sesame cookies, and our family loves them, and I hope your family will too. So let's get started. I'm just going to prep a couple things while we're getting started. I'm going to chop up my butter. It makes it a little easier to incorporate into the flour. And while I do, I'll tell you the story of these cookies. So I would love to tell you that they are an ancient Sicilian recipe, came over with my grandmother, but that would be just a lie. These actually only go back one generation. My mom went into an Italian bake shop in Riverside, California, and the chef there was one of the instructors at University of California at Riverside. And every week she would have a recipe hanging on the wall that anyone could just take. So my mom took that recipe and started making these cookies for all of our holidays and special occasions. So now anytime anything special is coming up, we make these and everybody loves it. So I'm going to start here with my 4 cups of flour and get those in first. Just dump it right in. I pre-measured. I want to get my dry ingredients in first. Next, I have a cup of sesame seed. This is what makes this recipe really special. And the nuts in the cookies like this incorporated into the dough really are an Italian thing. In Sicily, where my family's from, it's usually almonds, but you do find sesame seeds. And it gives this cookie a really unique flavor. Just dump those right in. I'm going to get my cup of sugar. You guys have to see this. This is actually my recipe. I can barely read it anymore. You would think I would transfer it onto a real recipe card, but somehow it makes it more authentic this way. So a cup of sugar right in there. Another thing that gives this recipe a real distinctness is this nutmeg. The sesame and the nutmeg together is really good. I just want a half a teaspoon of that. Just a little goes a long way. It smells great. And then I need a teaspoon, not a tablespoon, but a teaspoon of baking powder. And we're going to throw that right in too. It's 1 teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon. Measuring thing there. Okay, so we've got all of our dry ingredients here, and we're just going to give them a stir. The next thing we want to do is add our butter. And we want to add it a little at a time with the beater on. It's a little loud, so I'll show you, but basically what we want to do is add a little at a time with the beater on and turn it into a light meal consistency. It takes about 3 or 4 minutes to really incorporate the butter in, but it looks like just a fine meal. Now actually this is not a finicky dough, and you could do it on your food processor. It's actually easier on the food processor. So that would only take you about a minute. Next we want to add our beaten eggs. There's 3 eggs. Now we're going to turn it into a dough. Let that mix just a little. And then you want to add your milk. It's a half a cup, but add it only a small amount at a time. We don't want our dough to be too wet here. Okay, and that's really about it. A real coarse dough at that point. So now we're to the fun part where you need the kids, kind of messy part. The cookies really are about a tablespoon. My mom and I fight about this when we make them. She always tries to boss me. But I like them a little bigger than she does. And what you do is you roll it kind of into, you know, a little log, about like that. Maybe what, 1.5 inches long and maybe 1/2 inch thick. And then you roll it in your sprinkles. Now, for Easter, for spring, you want, you know, a fun festive colored sprinkle. You can do red and green at Christmas time. You could do baby colors for a baby shower, but that's about what they look like. A nice thick cookie. These are kind of a moist cookie. And they're really not very sweet. They're not too sweet. Like a lot of Italian pastry, they're not very sweet, but they're yummy. So about like that. You want to put it on a parchment lined paper. Parchment lined paper just looks so professional. But if you're not going to use parchment lined, you just don't want to put any grease on there. But the sprinkles kind of do tend to stick, so parchment lined really is great. We're just going to fill up this tray and get them in the oven about 350 for 10-12 minutes. You don't want these cookies brown, but you don't want them underdone either. Our cookies are out of the oven. It is a little cool here today, so I ended up with my first batch. I baked at 350 for really about 14 minutes. And then the next batch I bumped up to 375 for the same, about 14 minutes. And really what happens is they just start to crack a little bit, but they're still really blonde. There's really no brownness to them. But when they crack on the top just a little, you know when they're done. These cookies can also be baked at 400 for the same length of time. If you want a drier cookie more for dipping in coffee, things like that, they're really good that way too. But my family actually likes them a little softer, and I'll show you what they look like inside. They're a little more of a cakey kind of a cookie. Not really so crispy. And they're really yummy. So I will make sure that this whole recipe is available on my blog, www.theartoffrosting.blogspot.com, and with some photos and a little more information about these. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. As always, it's free. Like us and share it a lot if you like this recipe. I think you're going to really enjoy this, and I think your family will too. Thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. See you all again soon. Lots and lots more to come.